Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
You and I we've eaten out quite a bit at different restaurants and stuff. And would it be fair to say that you love Torchy's tacos?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay. I mean, they got all kinds of good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I do. I don't remember what it's called, though. It's a chicken taco. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay. And they're chips and queso?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, with
the
meat?
hillbilly kind.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Do you have other foods that you love? I mean, forget Torchy's, because,
I love everything with flavor. Lots and lots of flavor. So pastas, whether it's Italian or Chinese or Thai or whatever. I love a lot of flavor.
Okay. All right. Well, the reason why I bring that up is, do you ever say other things? Man, I love that movie. Ooh, I love the singer. Ooh, I love the song.
Of course, I love a lot of things.
Okay, all right. Well, what if I told you that love might be an overused word?
I would agree.
Okay. Well, I ran across a professional journal article, and it struck me because of its title, and it says, "Love is not an emotion."
Right. I could agree with that.
Okay.
Let's you can help me understand why I agree with it, but I definitely agree with it.
Okay. All right. Well, it took me a little bit to read the article, and because it's kind of a lengthy one. And I wasn't really sure what it was that they were trying to get across. But they said in this article, and it was a very interesting and compelling journal article. Mm-hmm. And what I like about journal articles, one, is that they have to be decently researched, and they have to have good citations to back it up. Now, I'm not going to say whether this person is 100% accurate or 100% inaccurate. I just thought they made a very interesting and somewhat compelling argument for their case. And so here's the thing. They were saying that love is not an emotion, but instead they said it was a physiological drive or response similar to our basic human needs like hunger, thirst, and sleep.
Okay.
And so therefore it's rooted or centered around our brain's reward circuitry.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, and it got me thinking, how many times do we all say, "Oh, I love this. Oh, I love that"?
Yeah, I mean, I love a lot of things. I love toys. I love movies. I love food. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my car. I love,
Okay.
I love vacation. I love the ocean. Here's the thing, right? Like love in the English language is one word.
Yes.
And that's a major departure from other languages.
Okay. I'm not well versed in other languages.
Yeah. So, just for example, the Greek language has, at least for some people might claim more words for love.
Really?
And they mean different things.
Okay.
But if we translated things, it would just come out love.
Okay. Well, and that's where it really got me thinking that, and all the things that you described, I love peaches, and I like, if we go out to a place and they've got a peach cobbler or a peach pie, then Sherry knows automatically Rod's getting dessert.
Yeah.
And maybe I take it home, but I'm still getting dessert because I like, or if we go out and they've got a peach flavored drink, odds are I'm going to try it.
Sure.
But because I love peaches, but I think I love peaches a lot differently than I love sherry.
Right. I would imagine. I would hope that Sherry would agree with that. Right.
Well,
we don't want to love food in exactly the same way as we love our spouse.
Well, and so in this journal article, they were talking about the concept of love
is driven by a biological necessity rather than logical reasoning or conscious decision making.
Okay. That aligns with other things I've read about human nature, desiring things like relationship.
Okay.
Right. And so in relationship, you want to be loved in some way, but by another person.
Well, and that's why, as I dove deeper into this journal article, because so many times when I think of love, and I think much of our culture, or at least American culture, talks about love, we think of like Valentine's Day.
Sure.
And, and so she's talking about, because it's a gal out of a university in Spain.
Okay.
And I'm not going to try and butcher her name. I just don't have that skill set to say names that poorly. Well, actually, I say it poorly very well. I don't want to do that. Anyway, but in this journal article, she's talking about that there are scientific paradigms as well as societal norms that a lot of times we can mistake the level of, quote, love with emotional experiences. And so that's why I was saying, we can love music, we can love food, we can, which is a lot different than the love that we have for another person.
Okay.
And so, and of course, when we're talking about emotional experiences, we're also talking about, sexual attraction. Ooh, I'm attracted to them. All right. Well, that's, again, we're talking about a lot of physiological issues that we can, like love at first sight.
Right.
Okay. Well, is it really love at first sight, or is it just some kind of, brain-based human attraction that we have to somebody? We're going, ooh, la, la, la. All right. So anyway, again, they were talking about this issue of the societal norms, and they were saying that a lot of times this confusion can lead to a false cultural narrative that romantic love needs to include some kind of sexual compatibility or emotional intensity, when in fact they're saying love operates independently from those.
Right.
You agree with that?
I do. I think that, there's lots of people who are not engaging in sexual activity and still love each other. You can think, older couples sometimes.
Okay.
That kind of falls away, but they still love each other. It's not, that aspect isn't there anymore. It doesn't have to be there, necessarily. So I don't think that one requires the other necessarily.
And but again, if we think about, again, when we use the different ways we use the word love, and the way that it is related to relationships as well as joy, things that we enjoy. And so I thought it was really kind of interesting that, making these kinds of comparisons and talking about that when we say love, it's got a different connotation than, depending on, again, how we use it. Like you were saying, in different other languages, they have different words for love to relate to, well, maybe the intensity or the type.
Sure. And I also think, you mentioned joy. I think that joy is separate from love as well. Like that's a whole different topic, in my mind. That joy is like a fulfillment. It's not necessarily love in itself, right? They're not one and the same.
Okay. I can see that. Well, because sometimes what they're also saying too is that a lot of times when we use the word love, it can lead to misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And it can have some kinds of serious social consequences as a result. And I'll use an example. I was in college and there was a girl that I liked, and we were friends, and we did country, I won't say line dancing, but we did country dancing. She and I were partners, and we were friends and we were pals, and, we liked each other, and I sent her flowers. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not, well, at least at that time in my, early 20s, wasn't a man of the world, and I hadn't, was not well experienced. And so I sent her flowers. Well, what kind of flowers do you send?
Well, you probably sent roses.
I sure as heck did. They sent red ones. Yeah. And I had no clue that color and type of flowers sent messages. I just thought, well, shoot, they're flowers. I'm a guy. You send flowers. That was a nice thing, Right. And anyway, that put our friendship, and it went south real quick after that.
Wow.
And so when they were talking about misunderstandings, when I was reading through this, and they were talking about, the word love, that memory came back to the forefront of my mind going, yeah, I learned that kind of the hard way.
Yeah.
And so, because how many times, again, do we mislabel love as an emotion?
I think all the time. You would talk about falling in love with somebody and falling out of love with somebody, and we think that that just those terms suggest that it's an emotion that we can create and destroy in our own selves, and it's really not. This is an interesting topic to me because this is how my wife and I have approached our marriage. So we've been married for, almost 33 years.
Yeah.
And we approach marriage much in a way that love is not an emotion, right? It's actions. And there's that book we've talked about before about the 5 love languages. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those is an action.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's not how you feel. And from our perspective, it's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
We had the traditional vows, right? These days everybody makes their own vows and they're interesting, in themselves. But, we had traditional wedding vows, and we had that, that we're going to, care for each other until death do us part. Mm-hmm. All that, sickness and in health and, all those
good
things.
Good times and bad.
And that's about action. Right. Mm-hmm. That's what that's about. It's about how am I going to care for this other person? Mm-hmm. What am I going to do? I'm committing. It's a covenant, right? Mm-hmm. And we usually use that as a religious thing, but a covenant is just a promise.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. That we will care for each other, that we will work for our best interest together. Mm-hmm. And it's not all the feels all the time.
And that's what struck me. I guess that's why it kept resonating with me, and why, as I read through this, I wanted to, talk about it on air.
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned about it not being emotion, but yet it is for so many people as it is misused or maybe misunderstood, because you're right. I fell in love with you, but now I fell out of love with you because I fell in love with somebody else. So the idea of love as an emotion leads to a lot of divorce rates.
Sure. And what you're describing, I think, is, and I recently, in the last month, I read a book by David Brooks called The Second Mountain.
Yeah, you've talked about that a couple times. It was
written before COVID. Mm-hmm. But it's very interesting as far as looking at individuality and, your first mountain in life and then your second mountain. But in that book, he talks on this topic to some extent. And, emotions come and go, mm-hmm. right? So you're really he was talking about it being like you're infatuated with that person.
Yeah.
And then you become not infatuated with that person. Mm-hmm. Love is different in that when you may not be as infatuated anymore, you're still committed.
And yes.
And that infatuation will come back.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like those feelings will come back and come and go, but it's about a commitment that's long, mm-hmm. not fleeting.
Well, and that is what is brought up in the journal article, is that so many times these misunderstandings, like what you were just saying,
right,
can lead to intimate partner violence. It can lead to all kinds of emotional disorders. I mean, stress, anxiety, depression. Well, they don't love me anymore.
Right.
Or I'm worried, or do they love me as much as I love them? I mean, we create a lot of things because we put a lot of expectations on that simple 4-letter word.
Right. And despite the fact that people thinking that love is an emotion, when you say to somebody else, I don't love you anymore, mm-hmm. what that person hears more, I think, is I don't care about you anymore.
Yeah.
And because love is about caring. It's about an action of caring for that person. And so what it says is that you just don't care about me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, worse than the idea that, oh, you're not infatuated with me anymore.
And
that because we have this desire as humans to have these interdependent relationships where we lean on each other emotionally and physically and all those things. But if you don't care about me anymore, then I'm stuck, right? There's nothing I can do.
And the author of this, and this is where I found another level of compelling argument, is that they're talking about that this desire of love is the same biological wiring in the brain, as addiction. Mm-hmm. Addiction to drugs, addiction to alcohol, my addiction to Dr. Pepper. All right. These addictions, we're addicted to love.
The addiction to Dr. Pepper is a reasonable thing. I don't think that's an addiction.
Okay.
It's
I call it the
natural.
Elixir of life.
Very natural. But if you think about it, when have you felt most loved?
Times of trouble.
In your whole life, when have you felt most loved? I mean, just maybe a few different times.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I have felt most loved when my wife does something for me.
Yeah.
That is unexpected.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Right?
Yeah.
I know she has felt most loved when I do something unexpected for her. If I bring home flowers, flowers doesn't show any kind of emotion, right? But it does show that I care about her deeply, right? That because she likes the flowers, and maybe that's why your other person there didn't. She was like, well, he cares about me too much.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And so she got the message that he's caring about me more than I want him to.
Well, right.
And my wife, when I bring her flowers, she gets the idea, oh, that was sweet, right? Like you really thought of me, right? It's not about the flowers themselves. It's about the action behind the flowers.
And that's, again, it ties into our wiring in the brain of our understanding of that word. And so when our understanding of that word is, how shall we say, broken?
Yeah.
Through usually, again, an action that leads to all kinds of these negative thoughts. That leads to our depression. It leads to kinds of obsessive thoughts.
Right.
It can even lead to suicidal ideations because we tied too much emphasis to that 4-letter word.
Yeah.
And so thinking that thinking of it as an emotion and it's, again, a misunderstanding of the true nature of the word.
Right.
So, but again, when we say love, a lot of times we think of that as romantic love. I mean, you talked about loving your wife, loving your kids. Well, that's what they're talking about. And when we're engaging in those words, a lot of times that generates a memory recall. Right. And as we kick in that memory, we recall, then we get chemical releases in our brain like dopamine that create that kind of happiness, that pleasant feeling that ties that emotion to that memory, which reinforces that misunderstanding that love is a word.
Sure.
Or love, not something.
I mean, it is a word.
It's a word, sorry. But love is an emotion.
Right.
Kind of like, when I eat some of my favorite foods or watch one. Oh my God, I love this movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was rewatching Band of Brothers and my wife goes, how many times have you watched this? And I looked at her and I goes, well, how many times have you watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer series? And she goes, that's not the same. But
you just love Tom Hanks.
Well, he's not even in this.
Oh, that's true.
But it's that whole idea.
That's the other movie.
Yeah.
Another movie that he's in. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I think that we attach this emotional feeling to the word love. And so we think that when we love something, it's always this, there's always this dramatic sentiment associated with it. And so, but it's really not that way. In fact, I think it's kind of mundane. Right? Think about it. So do you have habits?
Yes.
Other than Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I do.
What would you say is one or two of your biggest habits?
Ooh, I like to play my video games. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a negative or a positive.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Whatever the habit is, it could be negative, it could be positive. Doesn't matter.
Oh, and of course, one that's well documented is my desire to have people drive better. Mm-hmm. Is that a habit?
I don't think so. That's an obsession.
Oh,
how
about yelling at them for driving poorly?
I mean, that's a habit.
Okay, right. Then yes, yeah. I mean, hello.
When I'm driving behind you, I can tell you're doing that.
Well, when the speed limit says 70 and you're doing 60, 55 and 60, and it's the highway.
Yeah, I think we're talking about when the speed limit's 45 and they're not doing 55. I think that's what we're really talking about.
Oh, well, yeah.
So that's the Texas way, right? So the reason I ask that,
okay,
and I have habits too, right? Like I like to listen to music.
Yeah.
I like to read books.
Yeah. So do I.
Those are some habits that I have, but neither one of us is mentioning any habits that we have that are directed towards our spouse.
Ooh, interesting.
And here's the thing: the book that I read from David Brooks, The Second Mountain, that one, he talks about how love is kind of measured by habits.
Really?
Which means that it's actions constantly, right? And the same ones over and over. That's why I said it's mundane, right?
Okay.
Because you get yourself in a habit of doing certain things. And so maybe every day I develop a habit of leaving a note in my wife's bag every day that she'll find later just to let her know I was thinking of her.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's the habit of my wife likes the bed made. So I get up and I make the bed every day to honor the fact that she likes the bed made.
As you say that, I guess other habits are when I say goodbye, I give her a kiss and I say, I love you.
That's a great habit, right?
When I come
do that
back
too,
home.
But I didn't mention it.
Okay. Interesting. When you say habits, my mind went a different direction. But,
sure.
Wow. Okay. All right. And wow. Okay.
So I think that, thinking, if we think that love is not an emotion and instead it's actions, and we take those and we make ourselves some habits that are actions towards the person that we love, or that we say we love emotionally.
Yeah.
Right? Then we can prove it.
Okay.
Right. Have you ever heard people say that? Like, prove that you love me.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And we don't mean sex, right?
But how many times do we associate sex with love?
We would associate that, but what they really mean is care for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. I mean, how does my grandson know that I love him? It's because of the things that I do that show that I care for him. It's not an emotion. He didn't get born and just suddenly have an emotion that he loves his grandfather.
Mm-hmm. No, it is something that
it's the action, right? And there's lots of kids that you've probably met, that I've met, that feel like their parents don't love them.
Ah, true.
Because the actions aren't there that show it. You can say it all you want.
Sure. Deeds, not words.
But if you're not doing it,
okay,
then it means nothing.
Well, and as you say that leads to something else that is brought up in this article. And it says that because of our misunderstanding of the word love, and that there's not enough actions, or maybe the actions that are coming out are maybe a little bit off, it's leading to a public health issue, because there is an increase in divorces. Mm-hmm. There is an rise of suicides, increase of depression.
Yep.
And as a result, these are causing a wide variety, at least in the United States, a lot of public health issues then that impact people in every aspect of society. It could be work. It could be at home. It could be in the prison system, the court system, whatever. And so if we could better understand, and this is what I thought, again, the author of this article proposes, that love and its loss should be addressed by these health systems. That maybe as mental health professionals, or which is, what I am now, we explore our understanding of what is love.
I think, from my perspective, I think this is a community problem.
Okay.
Right?
Explain.
It's part of the reason that I moved from Florida to Texas was to seek out some community, right? To relationship inside of, an area, a physical area. I lived in a place in Florida that didn't have community. Everybody was very individual, didn't know your neighbors, went to the theme parks all the time, and you just lived in existence.
Okay.
And I came here looking for something different, more like maybe what I had in New England when I lived there, of, a community of people that actually care about each other.
Okay.
In some way. And I think that we've moved, and, David Brooks talks about this in that book as well, but the book was written before COVID.
Okay.
It came out 1 year before COVID.
Okay.
Really. And we know that COVID exacerbated the situation as far as people being lonely.
Uh-huh.
But I think the whole thing stems from this individualistic ideology that we have in America, that we want to be, we're loners in some way, even though we don't, our nature is not to be.
Right.
And so we work on our individual identities and do all those things before we get into connecting in a relational identity, to some extent. But my wife and I struggle with this to some degree, but we also got married very young. So we say that we grew up together.
Yeah.
So we have a very tight relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't, like they set themselves up first in their 20s. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to get my career. I'm going to get my money. I'm going to do all the things. And then I'm going to get with somebody else. But that person's now an individual and you're an individual, and it's much harder to get together.
Interesting.
And so I just think that a lot of this stems from everybody wanting to be these extreme individuals, even though what they really want is interconnected relationship.
Interesting. Well, they say people in America are getting married later and later.
They are.
And maybe that's why my stepkids are not married.
And I think part of that stems from it's hard to find somebody now. I talked to my daughter about dating, and it's tough.
That's
right?
true.
I met my wife in my driveway. It doesn't happen to a lot of people. Bars isn't a great scene to go meeting people.
No.
It's just, there's a danger associated with the apps oftentimes.
Yeah.
Some of them are expensive, and there's just,
yes,
the whole thing is daunting to a lot of people, and they just say, why bother?
Yeah.
So, but there are ways to do it, I guess, and I'm not a pro on those ways, but
yeah.
I have the belief, and I know that not everybody believes these kind of things, but I believe that there's somebody out there for everybody.
Yes.
So, it's a matter of finding them.
And I think you're more likely to find them when you're not looking.
Yeah. And I think it's easier once you do, kind of find somebody. And I've talked to people who have had the same experience my wife and I had, or at least I had, where I was like, wow, she's the one. Right.
Yeah.
Like from the first moment I saw her. But I've also met other people that are like, we can't remember when our first date was. Right. Like we don't know because we were just friends. Yeah. And then it just morphed into something more.
Okay.
And so they don't have they don't remember that.
Interesting.
And so it happens differently for different people and different reasons.
Yeah. Well, as we're getting close to the end here, I want to just sum up again the article. And it was basically saying, and they ended by saying that we need to have a paradigm shift in our understanding of the word love, and move it from the idea that love is an emotion, and identify that love is actually a physiological need.
Yes.
That if we can do so, society can better understand and potentially treat issues, and serious issues such as suicide, domestic violence, and psychological distress such as anxiety, stress, and depression. And it just reframing our understanding of this word, better understanding of what love is, and maybe, I guess maybe it's probably too late, but having multiple words for love. And
right.
like you were saying at the beginning with, like the Greeks having multiple words for the word love.
Sure. And I don't know. I think the new words that always come out that people use are silly to me, but, so I don't know. I don't know if we want to start creating new words for love. 'Cause, man, I don't know what those are going to come out like. But I mean, I agree. I think that we need to reevaluate how we use that word.
Yeah.
And what our expectation is of that word. But I also think that, while there's clinical, answers to these things, the most immediate thing I think that anybody can do if they're feeling, if somebody in your life is feeling unloved, is just show some care for them.
Give them a hug.
Figure out what it is that they like and do something for them that they like. And you will see, a change, if only for a moment.
Yeah.
And the more often you do it, I think the better things can be. It's not necessarily the complete answer.
Yeah.
But you got to start somewhere.
Okay.
But care for somebody. Right? If we just care about more than ourselves,
yes,
then, the whole world can be a better place, right?
Well, you know what? I love
some kind of song
this conversation. I love that we have talked about this.
So, yeah, that's great. You're overusing the word, but
so
I think it's been a great conversation.
Yes, it has.
I appreciate that we did that.
Well, welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Me too. So thanks for indulging me. Well, in that case, before this love fest gets any worse, we'll call it a day.
Sure.
All right. So until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Scott.
See ya.
All right.